Hey everybody, are you with me? Here we are. It's nice to see you. I'm not seeing you. I can only imagine I'm seeing you. I start with a song. This is a song about the car radio. Every time we got somewhere to go, my mom and I fight about the radio. She wants her station, I want mine. She says, it's my car, tough luck, don't whine. The DJ says, these songs are solid gold, but every one they play's about a million years old. One after another, on and on, and what makes it worse is my mom sings along. She sings along, and she sings do-wah-da-diddy, baby. My mom's music drives me crazy. Do-wah-da-diddy, baby, but she don't care. Tried to get her to listen to my favorite band. She says, that's just a bunch of noise that I cannot stand. She turns the radio back to where she wants it to be and starts to sing along, way off key. My mom sings off key. Mom, stop it, please, I cry, 'cause everybody's looking at us as we drive by. She rolls down the window, she doesn't care. I sink down in my seat like I'm not there. I wish she wasn't there when she sings do-wah-da-diddy, baby. My mom's music drives me crazy. Do-wah-da-diddy, baby, but she don't care. I promise when I get older, I will not be so weird. I promise if I have kids, I won't make them want to disappear. Hey! I need a screaming electric guitar here. Right. The worst finally happened. I'm telling you all, I was in school last week. I was walking down the hall. I was with my best friend and I started humming some tune. And he looked at me like I come from the moon. I said, what's the matter? He says, what do you mean? What is the matter with you? And suddenly I realized I was doing it too. I know, please help me. Someone, I said, my mom's dumb songs are stuck in my head. They're in my head and I'm singing do-wah-da-diddy, baby. My mom's music drives me crazy. Do-wah-da-diddy, baby, but she don't care. Do-wah-da-diddy, baby, stuck in my head, driving me crazy. Do-wah-da-diddy, baby, but she don't care. There you go. How are you all? So, I don't know if you know this or not, but this is the last show I'm doing for a while. I've been doing these since March, right? And I'm going to go on vacation. Actually, I don't know where I'm going on vacation. I know I'm going someplace. The place that we usually go to in the summer isn't available to us, so it might just be the most dreaded of things for all of us right now, a staycation. But whatever it is, I have to finish on some projects, and I'm just going to try not to do anything for a little while. Go on bike rides, go swimming, go down to the beach. If we go there early, there's nobody there. But I'm going to miss these. when your work goes away and things change, what you need is something that's regular. You know, every day you need to do something regularly, or sometime during the week. And so for me, my chance to be with you guys for the past 4 months has been something regular for me. So I know I'm going to miss this, but I'll be back. I will be back. So let me see. I've got some things to say. Okay, Sarah Granger. Are you there, Sarah? Okay, Sarah's turning 38 on July 16th. I remember 38. You know, I had something weird happen to me last week. I think last week was my birthday, but 4 days later, my younger son Dylan had a birthday, and he turned 33, and I turned 66. So my nephew, Jason, who is a math professor, informed me that at a certain point, 2 days after Dylan's birthday, I was exactly twice as old as Dylan. So that's kind of interesting. So Sarah, I don't know if you got somebody's half your age or twice your age. Anyway, happy birthday. So that's a birthday, and I do want to mention Alex. Okay, Alex. Alex is moving. It's a big move at the end of the month, and he's moving to New Mexico. And it's a big move, and he has to leave a bunch of his friends and school and family members behind. And I think the hardest thing is, when I was thinking about this, is like probably a lot of them you don't get to hug, you don't get to have a big goodbye party, and so it's hard to say goodbye like that. Alex, I had to move twice when I was a kid. I moved once when I just turned 6. I moved from Greenville, Ohio to Indianapolis, Indiana, and then when I just turned 16, at the beginning of July, right at my birthday, we moved from Indiana to Connecticut. So I know what that's like. But here's what else I know. Even though it's a big change, there's somebody there waiting for you that's going to be your friend. We don't know who it is. There's so much we don't know right now. We don't know what's going to happen next, but I know that's going to happen. So, Alex, I hope the move is good, and you'll get to see all those other people again. So let me see. I'm going to tell you a story. I'll put this down. So it's summer, and for me, one of the things I've always loved doing is playing baseball and watching baseball. I love baseball my whole life. And I usually play softball, but we're not even playing softball right now. And so when my kids were growing up, I was really excited about them playing baseball. And so my older son did, and my younger son, Dylan, it was time for him. We signed him up to play baseball in the town league, in the North Seekonk Baseball League. But of course, North Seekonk Little League. But of course, if you know much about baseball for little kids, you know that the first thing you do is you don't play baseball, right? Baseball, you know what I'm talking about? You play t-ball. Are you with me? So now some of you, maybe you're not interested in baseball, or maybe you don't have a kid that played baseball, so you don't know much about t-ball, so I have to explain it to you. And so the kids who play t-ball and the grown-ups who grew up with t-ball, you know this already. But first of all, okay, so here's the way it was played in the North Seekonk Little League. First of all, that year there was a youth soccer league in the summer, and a lot of kids signed up for youth soccer, so there weren't as many kids as there usually are playing baseball. So they just decided there were just going to be 2 teams in the league, in the T-ball league. And they put 25 kids on each team. And in T-ball, at least the way they were playing it, it seems to me that everybody played all the time. That meant if there were 25 kids on the team, there were just 25 kids out there on the field. Although 25 kids were not all spread across the field, because what's the point of being on a team if you have to stand far away from your friends? Now with social distancing, it might make sense, but back then, you just start playing baseball, it's like, go stand out there 7 miles away from your friend. No, you don't want to do that. So everybody kind of congregated in the infield. So there were 25 kids in the infield, which actually worked pretty well. because if the ball was hit, it would probably just bounce off a bunch of them and never get out of the infield. Now, the other thing about that, with 25 kids, is in T-ball, everybody bats every inning. Right? There are 25 kids. And there are, the games, if my memory serves me, the games seem like they started at 8:30 in the morning. And sometimes they never finished. They had to call the game because the sun was setting. They took forever. 6 innings, 25 batters batting each inning. And so what happened is if you hit the ball and you ran and you got to first and you were out because somebody tagged you or the ball got there first, or maybe somebody caught the ball by accident in the air, because it could happen, and you were out, it was kind of okay if you stayed on the base, because nobody really wanted to be out. So you just stay there. So there might be, it seemed to me that there might be 2 or 3 kids standing on each base. And then the last kid got up and hit the ball, and the coaches said, everybody run around home, and everybody would get up and run around the bases, and they would all think that they had a home run. Okay? And so every game seemed like it ended in a tie, which was kind of nice. And then the most important thing about this T-ball, why it's called T-ball, is the tee. Hitting a baseball is about the hardest thing there is to do in sports. It's very difficult. The ball's moving, it's not very big, and your bat is there, but it's kind of skinny. You don't get those big fat wiffle ball bats, and it's hard to hit the ball, especially if it's coming fast. You have to learn hand-eye coordination, and it's very difficult. So, when we start playing baseball, we put the ball on the tee so we can teach the kids how to swing the bat really well, and they keep their eye on the ball. That's what my dad always used to say, keep your eye on the ball. Has somebody said that to you? Keep your eye on the ball. So, the ball's there, they hit the ball, and then they run off. All right, that's T-ball. Now, on Dylan's team, there was a girl, I'm going to call her Tracy. And Tracy was really excited about playing. But Tracy couldn't see anyone. She had very thick glasses, and I remember she had some hearing aids, and she ran in this kind of herky-jerky fashion. And Tracy loved to play baseball. She loved to play T-ball, but she couldn't hit the ball, even though the ball was sitting there on the tee, not moving. She would swing and miss and swing and miss and swing and miss and swing and miss, and the paint on the buildings would dry and peel, and the grass in the outfield would grow taller, and she'd swing and miss and swing and miss. And sometimes she might not hit the ball, but she would hit the tee that was holding the ball, and so the ball would just fall off the tee, at which point everybody on both teams would say, "Run, Tracy, run, run!" In T-ball, you couldn't strike out. You swang until you hit the ball. And so they'd say, "Run, Tracy, run!" And she would run off to first, and she would be happy because she was playing, and playing is the most important thing. Now, things went on pretty well like that, and nobody really cared whether Tracy could hit the ball or not. But towards the end of the season, the coaches became concerned because next year some of these kids were going to play where you had to pitch. They were going to play in the next league up. And some of the people, the parents began to complain. When are you going to teach them how to play real baseball? When are you going to teach them a real game? And so the coaches began to pitch to them during practice, and they announced the last week of practice that on the last game, there was going to be a real game, and they were going to pitch. The coaches were going to pitch to the kids, and if you swung and hit the ball, you would still get to bat until you hit the ball, but if you hit the ball and you got tagged out, or somebody caught it in the air, or if it got to first base first, you had to sit down. And I remember Dylan got in the car, and I was driving home for practice, and he said, "Dad, they say we're going to play a real game this Saturday." And I said, "Oh, that's good." And he said, "What have we been doing? I thought this was a game." We showed up that Saturday morning. Are you with me? And all of a sudden, it was very serious. You know, there was bleachers on the first base side and bleachers on the third base side, and all season long, the parents had been sitting with each other regardless of which team they were on, talking. But that day, the game became very serious, and the parents sat behind the benches of whoever team their kid was on. And the first kid, when he got up to bat, he hit the ball to the hit the ball to the first baseman, and the first baseman grabbed it and stood on the base. And the ump, no one had thought about an ump, and they appointed some poor dad to be ump at the last minute, and he barely knew what he was doing. And the ump said, "You're out. Sit down, son." And he started to cry. And the mom came down from the stands, and she held him and hugged him, and she brought him back over to the bench. He sat there and cried. And they didn't even get through 5 or 6 batters, and the first inning was over. We couldn't believe it. This game was going to take about 27 minutes. And the game went on. And every time Tracy came up, her coach would pitch her the ball, and she would swing and miss. He'd pitch the ball, and he'd swing and miss. And he'd say, "Keep your eye on the ball, Tracy, keep your eye on the ball." And she would swing and miss and swing and miss and swing and miss. And finally, they'd say, "Tracy, just run off to first base and come sit down." And Tracy was happy to do that because she was playing. Until we got to the 6th inning. The last inning of the game. There's only 6 innings in Little League, right? And it was close. Our team, Tracy's team, the team my son Dylan was on, was only behind by a couple runs. And there were runners on the base, and there were 2 outs. And her coach was pitching, said, "Tracy, it's your turn. Get the bat, let's bat." And Tracy grabbed a bat, and she headed to home plate. And some kid on Tracy's team called out, "Come on, Tracy, hit it for once, will ya?" That was the first time anybody ever said anything like that. So her coach went back to the pitcher's mound, and he started to lob the ball to her. And he had to show her how to stand again and how to hold the bat. And he pitched to her, and she swung, and she missed. And he pitched, and she swung, and she missed. 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 And the paint peeled, and she swung, and she missed. And the grass grew, and she swung, and she missed. And it was hot, the sun shining down, and the kids in that field began to complain. And some parent, a parent from the other team said, "Come on, you give her enough chances, come on." And even the other coach said, "Can we wind this up?" And everybody was complaining, and the kids on Tracy's team were yelling at her to hit her for once. And her coach said, "Okay, honey, one more time. Keep your eye on the ball." You know, I'm a storyteller, so I make stuff up all the time, but I'm not making this up. He pitched the ball to Tracy, and I don't know if her eyes were closed or her eyes were open, but she swung and she creamed it. She blistered it. She hit it so hard, she hit it right at the coach. He jumped out of the way. It bounced right behind the pitcher's mound, and those other kids are like 17 kids right there. They all jumped out of the way. They'd never seen anything like that. They were going to try to catch that. They might get hurt. It bounced once in front of second base and just rolled out into center field where no one was. Tracy had creamed the ball. And she stood there at home plate. She had never hit the ball. She was enjoying watching it go. And all of us in the bleachers on our side stood up and we said, "Run, Tracy, run! Run, Tracy, run!" And Tracy started to run to first base. She was so excited. She kept a hold of the bat. Maybe she would need it on first base. She got to first base, and by the time she got to first base, all those kids, those 24 kids in the outfield, 25 kids, how many were there? They all decided they should go get the ball. So about 17 of them headed off to chase the ball into center field. The grass was tall. It hadn't been cut all season long. Tracy got to first base. She stood there, enjoying herself. We said, "Go, Tracy, go!" And the first base coach, the parent that was a first base coach, shoved her off the base and "Go to second, Tracy, go!" And she started to run down towards second base, still holding the bat. He said, "Drop the bat." She threw it up in the air and it landed there. She got to second base. She stopped there. She'd never been on second base before. And all those kids were looking around in the outfield. And finally, about then, one of them found the ball and held it up. He'd found the ball. And then someone else said, "Let me see it." And they began to pass it around to each other, trying to decide what to do with it. Nobody had ever been in the outfield. Nobody knew what to do with the ball in the outfield. And the other coach said, "Throw it in!" And the third base coach said, "Come to third, Tracy, come to third!" And Tracy started running to third, and her parents were in the stands. They were filming it with these big, huge video cassette recorders we used to have. She's running to third, and the player holding the ball throws it, and it just goes off in another direction. So they start to chase it again, and pretty soon the ball's going back and forth across the field, and Tracy's getting to third, and the coach of the other team says, "Bring the ball in," and some kid grabs up and he holds the ball like that, and he starts running in, and Tracy gets to third base, and we're screaming like we've never screamed before. "Go, Tracy, go! You're going to get a home run, Tracy!" And her coach that had been pitching had run to home, and he was at home plate. He was down on his knees in the dust and the dirt on his jeans saying, "Come on, Tracy, come on!" And Tracy started to run home, and the ball had been thrown over by the first baseman, and he grabbed the ball. And he saw Tracy running towards home, from third to home, and he started to run across the field holding a ball. He was going to stab her with the ball, but Tracy's coming. She's running home. We're going to go, Tracy, go! Tracy's running. She's running home, and she saw the dog. There's always a dog in T-ball. I think it's even in the rule book. This dog, maybe it lived at a home nearby the field, but it had watched every game. And one of the dog's jobs was to run onto the field in the middle of the game when the kids were bored, and the kids would throw away their gloves and chase the dog until they got the dog off the field. But finally, the dog had learned from the coaches not to do that in the middle of an inning, and the dog was sitting right by the third base line, watching all the children play. And Tracy's running home. "We're going to go, Tracy, go!" And she sees the dog. And the dog smiles at her. And you know they can. Every morning, my dog rolls over on his back and smiles at me. And that's what the dog did. Smiled at Tracy, and she stopped. The first baseman was running over with the ball. We said, "Run, Tracy, run!" And her coach was at home plate going, "Come on, Tracy, run! Come on, come on!" She looked at her coach, she looked at the dog, she looked at the coach, she looked at the dog. She ran over to the dog. She ran over to the dog, and she patted it on her head. And the dog licked her face. And Tracy laughed. And the first baseman ran up with the ball and stabbed her in the back. And that poor dad that was the umpire said, "You're out." And it got very quiet. It was like the air went out of the balloon. Like this wasn't supposed to happen. She was going to get a home run. She was going to get a home run. They were going to win the game. Some terrible injustice had been done. And there was just that moment when nobody knew quite what to do. And then her coach had been on his knees in the dust at home plate. He stood up and he dusted off his knees and he began to clap. And then everybody on our side began to clap. And then all the parents on the other side began to clap. And everybody began to clap and they began to cheer. And it wasn't like this loud cheer like, we won or we're the best. No, but it was this deeper, longer cheer. And think about that now. Like, what were we cheering for? We were cheering for Tracy. We were cheering for baseball. We were cheering for the first baseman. We were cheering for the ball that came in from the outfield. We were cheering and applauding for the coach. We were cheering for everything. For us being there together. Now, I think I love baseball. I said that at the beginning, right? And I love playing, and I love hitting, and I love home runs, and I love winning. But sometimes in life, you gotta go for the dog. And that's what I learned from Tracy. So I'm going to sing a song for you. But I do want to mention, this now. First of all, this is my income, such as it is right now. And so if you're interested in making a donation, throwing a couple dollars, you go to my webpage. There's a mini concert thing, and you can click on that and send me a little, put something in the tip jar. But we've been cleaning out our basement. Because we're stuck at home. It's looking a lot better. And in my basement are hundreds and hundreds of things that I have created. And we have an idea. What we'd like to do is, and you can go on our website and see, we're going to send a newsletter. We're going to have a grab bag, okay, for $25 and shipping. We will send you over $100 of things, of Bill Harley things. And it's going to be just an assortment of all different stuff. We've got CDs, we've got audiobooks of Charlie bumpers, we've got shoelaces, a yes to running Bill Harley shoelaces, we've got t-shirts, we've got download cards of music, and I've got autographed poetry cards. I'll autograph cards and send it to you. So if you go and sign up, we are going to make a special box of all these different things, and we're going to put it in and we're going to send it to you. There's two reasons this is good. First is you're going to get a bunch of stuff, and you may not be able to hear me do a story every week, but you're going to be able to hear plenty of stories and songs. And secondly, our basement will be great. Our basement will be very happy. You won't believe all this stuff. It's 40 years of things that I've made down there, and I would rather have you have them than me, all right? I know them all pretty well. So that's it. I'm going to finish up with this song, which goes along with the story about Tracy very well. I wrote this song for my son Noah when he was growing up. Noah played on a soccer team in the town league. It was in the fall, not during the summer. And his team was horrible. Sometimes when they choose the teams, there's a new coach comes in and he doesn't know, he doesn't know who to pick. And for whatever reason, his team was horrible. They couldn't even score a goal. And it was miserable all season long. They didn't score a goal. And you know how parents are. We're always saying, oh, you guys are really good. And the kids are like, no, Dad, we're not good. No, you're playing really hard. Dad, we stink. Like, haven't changed the teams. And I said, I don't know. Some of those adults, they don't want to change teams. They've dreamed their whole life of winning. And now they're getting to do it with 9-year-olds. So I said, I can't change the teams, but I'll write a song for you. And poor Noah was like, oh, great. Dad's going to write another song. But I did. I wrote this song for Noah. And for anybody here who's been on a team that's had a hard time. And for Tracy too. Tracy, wherever you are. The first day of practice was easy to see. Our soccer team wasn't all it could be. The coach kicked the ball out, said let's have some fun. Some kid yelled out, watch me hit a home run. Our first game that week, it was quite a surprise. We were losing 6-0 before we opened our eyes. The score was 12-zip at the end of the day. Our coach called us over, and I heard him say, sometimes you lose and sometimes you win. If they knock you down, just get up again. If you've done your best, then don't be ashamed, 'cause you play for the love of the game. I showed up the next week all ready to play, but wouldn't you know, it went the same way. Their team scored first, then again and again and again and again and again and again. But week after week, it was always the same. We never scored, we lost every game. The other teams won, the other teams cheered. The voice of my coach just rang in my ear. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. If they knock you down, just get up again. If you've done your best, then don't be ashamed, 'cause you play for the love of the game. 8 games we've lost, how many more? Some kid asked our coach, what's it feel like to score? But still I show up on each Saturday, 'cause I like to run and I love to play. Last game of the season, what could be worse? Our team in last, their team in first. They're big and fast, we're small and slow. Who picked these teams? That's what I want to know. Their team scored first, then we held fast. We stayed in position, sometimes we passed. With time running out, looked like they'd win. I centered the ball, Todd kicked it in. The ref blew the whistle, the game was all done. The score was all tied, but it felt like we'd won. Our coach screamed and shouted, he yelled, way to go! I said, hey coach, calm down. Don't you know, sometimes you lose and sometimes you win. If they knock you down, just get up again. If you've done your best, then don't be ashamed, 'cause you play for the love of the game. Play for the love of the game. Well, thanks a lot for listening. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Be kind to each other. Wear your masks. Let's get through this thing together. We all work together. We will. And on the other side, it'll be interesting for all of us. Take care. And I'll be in touch soon. All right?